Hello, everybody, and welcome to DRL TV. I'm your host, James Pandolf. Joining me in the booth tonight is Taylor Butch and Benjamin. How are you doing tonight, Taylor?
I'm doing good tonight, James. We've got quite a race on hand tonight, a big field as well, about 34 drivers. It's been quite a start to this 2020 Dynasty Racing League Truck Series season. Richard Springer, last week's winner, won this race a year ago to take home the championship. And of course, this is the first time. This is the first time since 2001 where the Homestead is not the last race of the season. So definitely a change of the guard for these guys. Trucks are handling a little bit differently like they have been in the past. So hopefully we get a clean race. Last two races here have only had one caution in each of them. So hopefully we'll see something similar tonight, and it should be exciting all the way around.
Absolutely. 100 laps on this 1.5-mile track. We got a partly cloudy sky, 77 degrees, 1% humidity, with a 2-mile-per-hour wind northwest. Currently seeing Corey Sherman as he's screeching to a halt, completing his qualifying effort. Currently second with a 32.524. Let's see who else is on the track. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of drivers deciding to start in the back of tonight's field. Terrence Ney currently 15th as he's beginning his second lap, reaching the halfway point of qualifying.
We have three drivers tonight making their Dynasty Racing League Truck Series debut. That would be Randy Rockwell in the number 81 Chevy Silverado, as well as, where is he? The 17 of Josh Johnson, and the 09 of Trevor Shaw.
Yes, sir. 3 new drivers, and we also have the returning Jim Westfield in the 35 truck, as he's currently 14th, coming to complete his second lap. We'll see if he'll be able to improve. Terrence Ney did steal the pole away from Steven Sims. A minute and 50 seconds left in the qualifying. The one name, however, that stood out to me in practice was Ronnie Outlaw in the 51. He was top of the charts at the end of practice, so look to see if he'll be able to pick up his first Dynasty Racing League win tonight.
And he needs to get his season turned around. I mean, he showed some decent speed beginning of the season, but just hasn't been able to put the full race together. So, as you mentioned, fastest in practice, although has not, I believe, a set of qualifying time yet.
Nope, he's going to be setting his first lap time now. Almost getting up into the wall. That's going to hurt his qualifying time. We'll see if he'll be able to do better on this second lap. 27th with a 33.135.
And that lap was just a throwaway lap for him. Richard Springer up there in third. Robbie Armstrong in fifth. Those two DRL teammates, the last two, well, actually, Robbie Armstrong didn't win their race in 2018, but he finished high enough among the championship forward to take home the championship that night. And Outlaw's second lap is not much better. So after being the fastest in practice, he just got his work cut out for him.
You see Sidarius Jackson, he's going to be starting 10th with 10 seconds left in the qualifying session. Sidarius missed out on last week's event, but he had a strong finish 2 weeks ago, looking to capitalize on that here tonight at Homestead. As qualifying has come to a completion.
Yep, and Terrence Ney is going to capture the pole position for tonight's race. So let's see if we can get a quick word with him. There he is, down in minimum speed.
Thanks, Meg.
Hey, Terrence Ney, it's James and Taylor in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
I got a copy.
Well, it's a nice lap you put down there to claim the pole. We know how abrasive this racetrack is on tires, so what's your plan going into the night? Try to run hard as long as you can, or you're going to take it easy for a while?
To be honest with you, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even know I was gonna run a good as lap as I did. But plan is just to take it easy, let things settle in, find a groove, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, whenever you come in here 17th in points, I mean, you showed him flashes of speed at a top 5 last week at Atlanta. So, how does that confidence translate to this week at another mile-and-a-half track?
Yeah, it's confidence is definitely going up. These more consistent runs is more consistent as we go along here. Feel better and better each week. So hopefully, just have another good run today.
Well, we certainly wish you and Adam Faree, your teammate, some good luck tonight, and hope maybe talk to you later on as a podium finisher, perhaps.
I hope so. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yep, you too. Good luck.
Thanks, Mike.
As we continue through the grid order, Corey Sherman starting 9th, Cyrus Jackson, we mentioned earlier, 10th. Jim Westerfield making his 2020 season debut, 11th. Adam Purcell, 12th. Randy Rockwell with his debut tonight, 13th. And Dustin Eichert alongside him in 14th. 15th is Brent Kincott. He has some speed last week at Atlanta. We'll see if he'll be able to capitalize again tonight. Rounding out the top 20 goes to Adam Faree in 19th and Cody Barber in 20th.
Of course, Adam Faree last year made the championship for it, Homestead, but spun out early in the event and wasn't much of a factor the rest of the remainder of the race. So I'm sure he's looking for a lot better result tonight.
As the pace car is bringing them down into turn 3, Ronnie Outlaw starting in 29th and Cody Gasky rounding out the top 30. 31st is newcomer Josh Johnson and Ted Emmenheiser starting 32nd. 33rd goes to Adam Breeden, Marvin Wingfield starting in the 34th position. And that's going to round out our field. 34 trucks taking the green flag tonight. It's going to be one heck of a show. And it's going to be led by Terrence Sine as pace car is getting ready to duck off. And we're going racing here at Homestead.
Not the best start, though, for Terrence Sine. It looks like he kind of waited a little bit longer to go in the zone. And although he gets a good run into turn number 1, hopefully these guys can get spread out a little bit and find their own groove. As Sine, big wiggle in the middle of 1 and 2, and I've already got a crash in the back of the field. Patrick Calgill, the points leader, is involved. I believe it started in front of him. It started with the 16 of Hayden Askey and the 10 of Rod Fosnall.
See if we can get a better look at that.
And Rod Fosnall just breaks loose in the middle of 1 and 2 there. Almost clips Craig Meyer, but comes back up the track and Hayden Askey nowhere to go. Of course, these tires, when they have just getting up to temperature, that's how little grip there is until they get up to full temperature, and that's the result. A lot of damage for a couple of trucks, including our point leader. And looks like scoring shows Steven Sims in front of Terrence Sine. Steven coming in here 4th in points. Winner last year at Iowa Speedway when he was running part-time.
Very unfortunate start for the 16 and the 10. I think Patrick Calgill might be okay. He's coming down pit road to repair some of that damage as we take a closer look. A lot of it done to that front end. That's going to hurt his aerodynamics, that's for sure.
And it appears that Rod Fosnall has towed back to pit road with serious body damage as well as motor damage, as well as Hayden Askey. So that's a shame to see those guys tore up without even completing a single lap. So as the field comes by here, we get one to green. And Steven Sims going to elect the inside lane. Richard Springer got shuffled back a couple of positions, started third at the green flag, but is now taking this restart in fifth. And that Lumber Liquidators Toyota, last year's champion and winner of this event. Remember last year in this event there was a early caution, early saying about lap 10 or 12 or so, and he went with the strategy of pitting early and getting the fresh tires, and it turned out to be the winning strategy, as he was able to hold off his teammate this year, although he wasn't his teammate last year. Daniel Holloway was able to keep him at bay and take him to 2019 DRL Truck Championship. So let's try this again, shall we? Pace car leads the field out of turn number 4, makes that hard left turn on the pit road, and Steven Sims takes off and gets a good jump.
Yeah, great reshot there by the 45 truck. He's going to have a clear 2-3 truck advantage down in turn 1. You see Dakota Wilkins, he's going to look to the inside of Terrence Ney, try to take that second position away as they head down into turn 2.
I'm sure not the start that Terrence Ney was hoping for. He hasn't even led a single lap this season, and despite winning the pole position, wasn't able to lead that first lap, as Sims has about a 5 truck length gap between those guys racing for second place on back.
Everybody makes it around. Great restart there by everybody as we're on board with Corey Sherman. He's battling Jared Gordon in that 82 truck for a position. Looks like he'll be able to clear him.
Sherman knows how to get it done on these 1.5 miles. Took home his first DRL win at Las Vegas in the second race of this season.
As Daniel Holloway now looks to the inside of the 82. Brent Kincott right behind him in the Exalta 4 truck.
Yeah, Daniel Holloway, I was talking to him early on before we went live. He was saying he was focused mainly on the longer runs, and he wasn't able to get the best qualifying speed, and he kind of knew that, so he was focused mainly on about 30-40 laps into a run, seeing what the truck will do. Richard Springer is dropping back. He's good chance that he's probably saving his tires.
Yeah, that would be my guess. These tires are going to eat away, and around the 20th lap is when you're going to really be able to see who saved their tires and who ran as hard as they could. As the front 10 start to single file out. See that Terrence Ney was able to hold off the charging Dakota Wilkins, keep his second position. We'll see if he'll have anything for that 45 truck of Steven Sims, as he is closing the gap.
This guy's starting to spread out a little single file. Most running, looks like they're entering a little bit in the middle and then cutting down in between that first seam, with the right sides above it and their left sides below it. As here comes Austin Collins, trying to make a bid on Dakota Wilkins, while Wilkins is trying to get by Sine. They've caught back up to the Steven Sims.
There he goes, the 44, now to the door of the 32, as Terrence Ney had to catch that little wiggle there he had in the middle of the corner.
Talking to a lot of the guys in pre-race, they're saying that these trucks are more on the loose side, especially after you get some wear on them about 15, 20 laps in, like you mentioned, James.
Dakota might be able to clear him, but the 32 should have that run on the high side down the backstretch.
Blinking issue out of Robbie Armstrong's truck right there.
And while these two have been side by side for the last couple laps for second, Steven Sims has not really been able to pull away at all.
And they've been able to stay right with him. I mean, still just a skosh faster. That time about half a tenth. But we'll see what he's got for the long run. Although based on his restart and what he's been able to put together this first run, if it comes down to a short sprint, then he might be in the catbird seat. Well, you see the back end of that 45 hanging out, trying to keep the lead as Terrence Ane has a bit of a run, although not quite close enough to make a challenge.
On board with the 32 truck as we see them head down this back straightaway down into turn 3.
See him enter really high right there. You know Steven Sims is protecting that middle to lower lane, so he's got to find another lane to try to find some clean air on his truck. Here comes Dakota Wilkins underneath of him.
Sims getting his push there by the 32.
See just how tricky that low line really is. As you see the changing color in the pavement. I mean, there's not really much grip down near that white line, but Wilkins is making some ground. He's going to be able to clear the 32, not yet. Ronnie Outlaw, who was fastest in practice, like we mentioned before, was able to miss that first lap crash, and he's made his way up into the 20th. Randy Rockwell in his DRL debut, right in front of him in 19th. And Patrick Calgill has returned to the racetrack 11 laps down after that first lap wreck. Entering tonight as our points leader, but based on the, God, seems like it's been a bad omen to be the points leader, because last week Wilkins entered the race with the point lead and had an internet issue. There's a good chance we'll have another new point leader by the end of this race.
We have a battle going on. Jarrett Rogers in the 9 truck battling with Robbie Armstrong, and that'll be for the 6th position.
Meanwhile, for the lead, Terrence Ane had his truck alongside of Steven Sims, but Sims was able to hold him at bay. And Dakota Wilkins has dropped back to 5th position behind Richard Springer. Here comes Sine again to the inside. Doesn't quite have the nose alongside, although he drives it hard into turn 3. Oh, you see just how much he has to get out of the gas right there to not slide up into the 45. And Austin Collins is going to take advantage.
Yeah, Dakota Wilkins dropping back. Richard Springer able to take that 4th spot away.
Might be a product of him running that lower line, trying to get by Sine. Probably burned his tires up a little quicker than he would have liked. You just have to put so much wheel into it in order to make that bottom line work. You know, just eat the right front. Here comes Sine once again, this time with a little drafting help from the Collins, although still not quite close enough. He got his nose to the outside of Sims a couple laps ago. Oh, a little wiggle out
almost
Collins.
making contact.
Yeah, Sine having to move up the racetrack in order to keep from getting hit by the 99. The 98, excuse me. He was 99 last year. See some more blinking issues in the back of the field.
Richard Springer making his move for third. He's going to be able to clear the 98 with a little slide job as he slides up to the middle lane now.
That was nicely done right there. Looks like the blinking coming from Adam Purcell in the 58 truck. He was having some internet issues during practice, and it looks like they haven't quite cleared up as yet as he slides up in front of the 35 of Westerfield. Or rather the 3 of Armstrong, his teammate. And here comes Daniel Holloway right into this battle like we talked about before. He's, although he's getting taken 3 wide right here, Westerfield thinks better of it, but Holloway making his way towards the front. Again, not putting down that great of a hot lap, but being solid on the long runs is very important, and Holloway shows he's able to do that in that Hershey's 26 Chevy Silverado. And plus, he's got the best looking helmet in this field, I must say.
Steven Sims still holding strong, keeping that 32 behind him. Richard Springer likes what he's seeing as he's now closing the door on the top 2.
Front 3 beginning to pull away ever so slightly from the next 3 behind him. So we're now a quarter of the way into this race. Steven Sims has led every lap so far from the outside pole. And still every truck on the lead lap, except for those involved in the lap 1 crash. Got 2 Highwaymen Motorsports teammates up here in the top 5, Collins and now Jared Rogers. Makes his presence felt for the first time tonight up into the top 5, passing Dakota Wilkins.
Looking back in the field, Doug Lockrow in the 37, Dustin Eichen in the 7, battling for position. David Wright looking to get to the inside of that 7 as they come off the corner.
We're 3 wide back here for about 12th place. Adam Faree involved in that. Robbie Armstrong slipping back.
Corey Sherman taking that middle lane. Oh, almost making contact between the 6 and the 29. They're both able to get around the 3.
Oh, this might get dicey as Faree slides up in front of Sherman. Side areas Jackson trying to figure out which way to go. Looks like it's sorted out for the time being. Something has happened to Terrence Sine. Oh, I believe he's about to get kicked as his quality is dropping. What a shame would that be. Yep, yeah, I can't even see his truck on the racetrack anymore, and his quality just continues to fall. It's a little bit of a break for Sims and Springer as they have gapped Rogers, Collins, Purcell, and most of the other trucks.
As we see, it's now Richard Springer who's going to have his go at Steven Sims and see if he can take that lead away.
Gibson A still hasn't reappeared, and even if he does reappear, he was being scored a lap down, kind of similar to what happened to Thomas Harmon last night in the Grand National race, and now he's officially fallen through, so that's too bad. Sounded pretty confident when we talked to him on the pace lap, but Jerry's got to be one disappointed young man at the moment. Well, Jared Rogers is all of a sudden the fastest truck on this racetrack right now.
Yeah, about half a tenth quicker than our two race leaders. As you see the battle behind him, Adam Purcell looking to the inside of Rogers' teammate Austin Collins, who gets in the wall.
Oh, again.
Heavy damage for that 98 truck. You
Yeah,
see
that
that
second hit.
That right side all torn up.
You see the big opening there in the hood in the right front corner. And this is about the time, James, where guys are got to be thinking, what kind of pit strategy are they going to go with here? Because you can make it about 50 laps on fuel. As now we see Adam Breeden has fallen through. Wow. With the internet problem. But if these guys are going to split this race in thirds, then it's about that time they'd be ducking in. Like we say, you can make it 50 laps on fuel. But you know, these guys want tires, fresh tires, more than anything. And how about Daniel Holloway from 18th to 5th? In a matter of 32 laps. And here comes Richard Springer now for the race lead.
They
Slides up
make
into
contact.
Steve Sims, puts the 45 in the wall. Springer has to straighten it out.
Steven Sims definitely is not happy with Richard Springer at the moment.
And I know Richard Springer is not one of those guys that would need for that to happen, but yeah, I'm sure Steven is none too pleased on how that went down, but try to take a look at the 45. He's got some right front damage, kind of not as bad as Austin Collins, but see how it affects him. As here comes Purcell now. While that was going on, Jarrett Rogers gained a little more time and gained second position after Sims had to correct his truck off the wall. Purcell clears himself in front of the 45 truck. And actually, here comes Steven Sims to pit road.
Yeah, get
As
some of
well
that.
as somebody else behind him, too. Brent Kincott in the Ford truck, who had a top 10 last week at Atlanta, led for a little bit. And now it's about the time, if they're going to go with the two-stop strategy, now this would be the time to hit pit road.
Yeah, this could have played into the 45's hand, pitting right now. It's going to obviously be a two-stop race for him. We'll see how badly that damage affects him, as even more drivers are now coming down pit lane.
And those guys are hoping this race stays green until the guys on the one-stop strategy make their green flag stop. I guess the question is, will the guys, you know, the two pit stop guys, will the fresh tires be enough to overcome having to pit one more time than the others? Or Springer, man, walked his truck all the way up to the wall that time. I don't know how he kept it off the wall. Looks like Springer's got a little bit of right rear damage after that contact with Sims. Looks like the right front survived okay, though. So we put lap 38 on the board. Now 20 drivers being scored on the lead lap. Of course, about a third of these drivers have gone with the one-stop strategy or two-stop strategy. David Wright's made his way into the top 10 after starting back in 27th position in that Hot Wheels number 42. He was having some server issues as well during practice, but it looked like he's got that situated. And David's another one of those guys that has really done an extremely good job of learning how to save tires and be there at the end of a long run. See back here, Cody Gasky flying through these guys with the fresh tires. Steven Sims in the 45 is in the lucky dog position. Looks like Ronnie Outlaw is making his way onto pit road. And these guys don't have to use that access road as they have in years past. But it's a tricky pit road to get onto from that banking down to 50 miles an hour.
Soon to be at the halfway point in this.
Oh,
one.
Adam Purcell has gotten into the wall off turn 4. Or in the middle of 3 and 4, I should say. It's like the truck blinks out and his teammate Holloway next to him, as we see damage on both front corners of that 58 Monster Energy Silverado. Looks like Adam's losing quite a bit of speed here as Adam Faree goes by him to take over 5th. Well, we've got a big gaggle back here in the middle of the field among some guys that have stopped already and those that haven't. Robbie Armstrong in the middle of this battle. He's dropped back to 14th after starting up in the top 5. These guys on the fresh tires, they know they got to make up as much time as they can.
You see just how much faster 19 Marvin Winfield is on those fresh tires compared to Dustin Jones and Robbie Armstrong.
Looks like Robbie Armstrong's kind of used up his right front a little bit. Looks like he had a really hard time getting back to the gas that last corner without it going straight on him, and his teammate Dustin Jones able to capitalize on that.
Oh, sliding up the track is the 81. He's able to catch it though before he makes contact with the 3.
So far, the gap up at the front is kind of stabilized the last few laps at about 8-9 tenths of a second.
Rider's able to get around Cowgill.
And Cowgill's still out here 12 laps down, soldiering around, trying to get as many points as he can after the crash he was involved in on the very first lap. Right now, Trevor Shaw is in the free pass position as Steven Sims was able to make it around Richard Springer, the leader, to unlap himself the hard way. Someone else just dropped back after hitting the wall a few laps ago too is Austin Collins, as he has fallen way back into the 19th position.
Yeah, that just goes to show you how much the aerodynamics matter at a track like Homestead.
So Jared Gordon, the 82, makes his way to pit road. At Ben and Jerry's number 82 Chevy. Here comes David right down off the banking into the pits. Oh, had a hard time getting down to speed right there, but makes it work. So these guys pitting right now, they're basically going to be running on just about fumes at the time of the checkered flag if we don't see another caution.
Here comes our race leader, Richard Springer, down the pit lane.
Yep, here comes
Rogers
everybody.
right behind him.
Boy, really made it. Oh, Daniel Holloway barely makes it.
I'm
hitting the pit wall.
I'm not sure if he was slowed down enough. We'll have to wait and see if he has to do a drive penalty for speeding.
And that was very close, a la Kurt Busch in 2004.
And that's going to give the race lead to Jim Westerfield.
Yep, he and Adam Faree.
Officially at the halfway point here for the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series at Homestead. As here comes the race leader now, Jim Westerfield to pit. The 29 stays out to lead a lap.
Evidently, Holloway did not get caught speeding as he's exiting pit road right along with Springer and Rogers there. Faree hasn't stopped, neither has Dustin Jones, and neither has Craig Meyer, as well as Cody Barber. Okay. These guys have really got to be careful with the thing about these fresh tires in the middle of these green flag pit stops is closing rate is just huge. And we talked about this last week in Atlanta too. Unfortunately, we were able to avoid issues last week with that, but these guys have really got to be on their toes to not run each other over. As Faree has made his way onto pit road from the race lead, and Dustin Jones will lead a lap. Dustin Jones coming in here 11th in points.
Oh,
3
splitting
top
the
10s,
gap
and
with the 85 of Sideus Jackson as the leader came down the pit lane.
That was close. But Jones does give up the race lead to Cody Barber. After all this is said and done, this should hand the lead, at least for the time being, to Steven Sims.
Cody Barber has an issue. He's down way down.
Oh, he might be out of fuel. Or he has some right front damage. Now he's out of fuel onto the access road.
The current race leader, Cody Barber, he's out of fuel down into turn 3. He's got to make it all the way around the corner, then to his pit stall. This is going to be costly for the 28.
And trying to stay out that one lap longer to get that bonus point, and backfired on him.
As Steven Sims is once again your race leader.
Barber makes it to pit road safely and be coasting into his stall. Yeah, so after that round of pit stops, Steven Sims, he's going to have a tremendous lead right now at 11 seconds over Marvin Wingfield. Actually, here comes Richard Springer to retake that second position. But again, the guys on the one-lap strategy can't make it from here on gas.
Yeah, you can see how much pitting earlier helps, as Ben Kincott and Marvin Wingfield are both on 15-lap older tires than Richard Springer, and they were up to second and third after being about mid-pack when they came in initially.
Yeah, so what would be perfect for Sims and Wingfield and Kincott and those guys would maybe a caution like around lap 60 or so, because I'm sure these guys, those that have gotten the fresh tires and are back on the lead lap, I'm sure they would stay out if the caution comes out right away after they pit, but after they've run a few laps, they're going to want some new skins once again.
So there goes Jay Rogers around the 19, putting him back into the third position.
Now let's, just for comparison, let's see the lap times here. Last time Steven Sims ran a 33.75. That time Richard Springer a 32.76, so a full second faster.
Adam Frisella has been on pit road for almost 200 seconds now.
Getting that damage fixed. A disappointment once again after leading early on last week at Atlanta before he and Brent Kincott engaged in close quarters, and Purcell ended up in the wall racing for the lead that race as well, and ending up with a poor finish. Yeah, Springer is consistently a second faster each lap than Sims. Although Jarrett Rogers is not letting it get too far away, still about a second behind the 21. Looks like David Lindahl has a little damage on his right front. Came in here second in the points, only 1 point out of the lead in that UPS Toyota. Actually has the most top 10s out of anybody this year with 4. The only driver that has 4. Currently 22 drivers on the lead lap. Austin Collins in that 98. The first truck a lap down right behind our leader. And if Springer keeps up this pace, he's going to retake the lead from Sims in another 4 or 5 laps. Or maybe even sooner than that, because Sims right now has to deal with some traffic.
Yes, he does, as the 98 and the 27 both get around him. Oh, whoa, almost contact there with the 98. The slow truck of Patrick Cowgill staying to the high side.
Well, that's not what our leader wanted to see right there. And I'm sure Sims remembers what happened the last time Springer took the lead from him, so I'm sure Richard will be a little bit more careful this time. Three wide back here for about 6th, 7th, and 8th with Wingfield, Kingcott, and Outlaw.
Yeah, Ronnie Outlaw, who started way in the back after messing up a little bit in the qualifying, he's now about to crack the top 5 if he can continue this pace.
Oh man, it's really slid that thing off the corner. I thought he was going to drift up in front of Kingcott, but was able to keep it down there, and here comes David Wright. As well as Adam Fareed making a charge late. And the second round of pit stops for the guys on the two-stop strategy has begun as Steven Sims is on pit road right now. So that's the big questions. We have 36, coming to 35 laps to go. Will those fresh tires be fast enough to catch these guys that are going with one-stop strategy? Plus the fact that the guys on the one-stop strategy might have to conserve a little bit of fuel and slow down a little bit more, so that could play into their hands.
Fury getting around that 42 of David Wright for position, moving him up to the 5th spot.
This is quite a battle back here between Outlaw, Jackson, Fareed, although they got it sorted out for the time being. Give a call to Ted Immenheiser in the number 8 truck. He's kept that truck moderately clean, started way back in 32nd, and is now running in the top dozen and 12th. As Brett Kingcott makes his way off of pit road. And Randy Rockwell in his DRL Truck Series debut, 33-year-old from Warren, Pennsylvania, he's quietly running along in 11th position.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job tonight. He might be able to get himself a top 10.
Definitely wanting to make a good first impression. Steven Sims back into the lucky dog position. Cody Barber, after running out of fuel after that first sequence of pit stops, he used the second car one lap down in 23rd. Although he is about a full straightaway behind Steven Sims and oh, trouble in pit road. One truck spins and hits the inside of the pit wall. It was Josh Johnson. No caution will come out.
Josh Johnson able to make it to his pit stall. You can see a lot of damage there to his right front.
Well, he just got locked up as he came in there way too hot and caught the end of that wall that sticks out right there and hit it a ton. As he was another one of those guys that was on the two-stop strategy. And I believe that's going to do him in for the night, unfortunately.
With 30 laps to go, Richard Springer is currently your race leader. Jerry Rod is about a second and a half behind him in second, and then Daniel Holloway is our third place driver.
Pretty familiar territory for these guys up in the top 5. Springer of course, has won 2 of the first 5 races. And both times at Auto Club, you had Holloway finish second behind him and a 1-2 finish for DPR. And of course, last week at Atlanta, it was a 1-2-3 finish for DPR. Springer now with a 1.1 second lead over Rogers. Holloway about 3 seconds back. Westerfield 5.3 back. Springer still putting down some really solid laps. And Austin Collins has gone back a lap down for a second time, and I was trying to think if he had pitted or not, but he has not since lap 52, so Sims has got to run him down to try to be the free pass truck. Actually, in fact, Sims has actually just gotten by him, so Sims now back in the lucky dog position. Although it is quite a gamble for the guys that are on the 2-stop strategy. They basically have to need to rely on those guys to slow down a ton, if not run out of fuel.
Ronnie Outline, the 51, is down to make his final pit stop for the night.
I mean, that's just it's a really tough decision to have to make. Like, do you want the tire? I mean, all the drivers, of course, want the tires, but the question is how much you be able to gain back, since obviously you're going to lose a lap pitting under green. But then eventually the freshness on your tires are going to wear away within about 20 laps. So will you be able to make up that amount of distance in that amount of time is the big question. Oh, here comes some more guys on the pit road. Randy Rockwell, Trevor Shaw.
Jim Westerfield having himself a race, currently in the 4th position.
He's been running down Daniel Holloway for that 3rd spot. Sicily about a 10th faster each lap than the 26. Whereas Jim is no slouch to these bigger tracks. Won the pole last year for the Cup Series Auto Club, I believe it was. We're now down to 17 trucks on the lead lap. Steven Sims has unlapped himself. Most of the field pretty spread out, so we have another truck on pit road. That's Dustin Eichert in the Caterpillar number 7. Looks like with some right front damage.
Yeah, the number on the side of the truck is scraped up as well. Must have gotten into the wall at some point.
Oh, big wiggle out of David Wright's truck as he's dealing with some lappers behind him right now. King Cott and his teammate Cody Barber.
Yeah, King Cott on those fresh tires as he's able to easily get around them.
Gap's still staying about the same between the race leaders, Springer and Rogers, just about at a second. Actually, yeah, looks like Rogers actually might have gained a little bit. Of course, Jarrett Rogers showed last year how strong he can run on these mile-and-a-half tracks. Of course, we came within a lap of winning at Kentucky before he and Adam Faree got together on the last lap. He did win Talladega. Rogers did to advance him to the round of 8, so. And he closed in another couple hundredths that lap. Yeah, it's down under a second. Running about the same line. Looks like Rogers drifts up the racetrack a little bit sooner than Springer does. Now Rogers has to deal with the excuse me. He has to deal with the Cody Gasky truck behind him. Or Trevor Shaw, excuse me.
One car down on the 8th, and that's the 19 Marvin Wingfield, who almost came back up the track, able to collect himself.
I think he might have been trying to get to pit road and was going too fast.
I will have to agree with you, as he's 49 laps on his stint, so he definitely needs to come down for some tires and fuel.
And he's pulling down. He's actually taking the access road here, which they don't have to do, but I just feel it's the safest way, especially it might be a little bit gun shy after missing pit road the first time. Oh, as he really locks it up there, but gets it down to speed. That's a tough transition off that banking. I've always thought this pit road is kind of similar to like Darlington, where you could just be going through that corner, and then that pit entrance kind of sneaks up on you, and without that much grip to turn down from the banking to the apron, it can cause some havoc. So now down to 16 trucks on the lead lap. Bring King Cott in position to get the lucky dog. Should a caution come out? Caution right now would change everything.
Yeah, it would indeed. Only one caution tonight. These guys have done a fantastic job. Not to mention that caution was on the very first lap, so basically a green flag race.
And speaking of the first lap, one of the drivers involved in that, Rod Faustall, is back on the racetrack. 61 laps down. I mean, it may not look pretty, but he's back trying to gain as much points as he can. He's He has already passed Terrence Ane and should pass Adam Breeden. I mean, those couple points could be, pretty important.
You can see that damage he has to his right rear. Making that contact earlier, his truck just snapped loose on him in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
And the closest race we have going on the track right now is between Dakota Wilkins and Sidarius Jackson for 7th and 8th. Jackson about 5 truck lengths behind him. So we're now down under 10 laps to go. Richard Springer in that 21 now with a 2.5 lead over the 9 of Jarrett Rogers. Looking to win back-to-back Homestead truck races and looking to win this 2nd in a row and 3rd of the season. Now he's starting to rim line a little bit. That's the Richard Springer we've come to know.
Yeah, Richard Springer showing Homestead's one of his favorite tracks. Winning the championship last season here, winning the race, and it looks like he's gonna make it back-to-back wins at Homestead if this thing can stay green for the next 8 laps.
Yeah, he's praying for guys to just keep it straight, as Jarrett Rogers lost a ton of time on that lap. About 4/10 slower than Springer.
Steven Sims, who was leading the early part of this race before that contact with the 21 Richard Springer, he's currently up to the 13th position as he gets around the 31 Patrick Cowgill.
And it doesn't look like that 2-stop strategy is going to pay off the way he would have liked.
Craig Meyer, his first race in the 2020 season, Truck Series regular last season, making his return to the Truck Series. He's in the 11th, looking to crack the top 10 if he can catch him past the 8 truck of Ted Emenhiser.
Well, he's not that far behind. Craig Meyer has shown some, he's had a couple of solid runs last year. I believe he finished 3rd, was his best finish a year ago. Of course, he was able to rely on some team help from Dakota Wilkins and Jeremy Hebel, although Hebel isn't in this race. How about Dustin Jones in 9th? Another solid top 10 run, just like he was at Atlanta. Got some bonus points for leading. The man of the hour once again, Richard Springer, as he now is up to a 3.6 second lead all of a sudden, as Rogers' truck is really fallen off.
4 laps to go.
Now the battle will be between Holloway and Rogers for that 2nd spot, it appears. So Holloway was about 0.2 quicker that lap.
And then you have Adam Faree, currently in the 4th position, started way back in 19th. Having himself quite a race, going to get a solid top 5 finish, as long as nothing goes wrong. And right behind him is Jim Westfield. He's looking to take 5th for the night. Started outside the top 10 tonight. But he's going to have a little bit of trouble as David Wright's catching up to him in 6th. He wants himself another top 5. David Wright's having himself quite an early part of the season, still looking for that first win.
Ended up with a runner-up finish last week at Atlanta. And led for a while at Las Vegas before some late race misfortune. Oh, he kind of bullies his way past Jim Westerfield.
Yeah, I saw that 37 truck on the way high line. He had to do something.
Oh.
It could have been a sandwich. It's probably the best case scenario for the 35 that it was only a one-sided hit and not a sandwich between the 42 and the 37.
I mean, Westerfield really backed it down off that corner for whatever reason, and Wright had a big head of steam and couldn't help but to get in the side of him. But
Final lap.
Richard Springer takes the white flag, so this race will end on this lap, no cautions. And it appears that he's going to make it back-to-back for this season, as well as back-to-back at Homestead. Rogers should be safe enough to hold on to that second spot.
Through 3 and 4, no issues for Richard Springer as he's going to bring it down and he'll win here at Homestead. Jarrett Rogers bringing it around. He'll finish in second. The 26 of Daniel Holloway third. Adam Faree fourth. And fifth will go to David Wright, making that pass with 2 laps to go.
If he had another couple laps, he would have passed Adam Faree for that 4th position because he was closing fast on him. But how about Richard Springer? I mean, he has put the exclamation point on his dominance here at Homestead Miami Speedway. As we get the top 3 drivers here, a little bit of a shenanigans between teammates. Let's see if we can bring one of those teammates in here. Hey, Daniel Holloway, you got a copy, sir? Got this Taylor, Daniel, or Taylor and James. Well, like you were telling me before the race, before we went live, weren't really all that concerned about getting a hot lap, is only able to qualify 18th, but you were really strong on the long runs, like said you were going to be, and you end up with another podium finish.
Yeah, another top 3. Good finish tonight. You know, kept the truck clean. Not sure what happened. Told me I got a 4X with Adam blinking out, but never had any damage or anything. But kept with Springer and Jarrett, and then with everybody's different pit cycles, faster trucks with new tires, and there was almost a couple of wrecks in front of me too. So, but you know, congrats Richard again on the win. I think we're gonna have to put a little bounty hunter on him now. You know, hey, another top 3 finish tonight.
I mean, I'm sure you're satisfied with the top 3, but although I'm sure, I mean, it's nice to see your teammate win, but sure it'd be nice to get in the victory lane sooner or later. But of course, we go to Texas next week, that brand new resurfaced racetrack. I'm sure you've relied a lot on some info from your former teammate Jeffrey Meyer. What do you think about the new place? And have you gotten some laps on it yet?
Not in the trucks, but I've been in the cup cars and stuff, so I've been running pretty good. So Texas has been good to me. You know, just looking for another top 3, top 5 finish.
Yep, I mean, you've definitely shown a ton of consistency over the past 3 seasons now in the Truck Series for the Dynasty Racing League. Got any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the big old dysfunctional team. Robbie, Richard, Adams, Cody. I have a feeling I'm going to be missing somebody here, but there's too many of us. DRL, you guys put on a league. You know, I told you we almost went another green flag race in here, except for that first lap. So, but another strong race tonight with everybody, keeping it clean. You know, low cautions, long green flags. I'm gonna get that win eventually here. It's coming, I think, and keep running these top 3s, top 5s. I think I'll eventually will get that win.
Yeah, I definitely believe so too. That you'll end up in victory lane before too long. Congrats on bringing that Hershey's number 26 Chevy Silverado in the top 3, and we'll see you next week, pal.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good night.
And he successfully, I was talking to him before the race, he literally guessed it correct. Caution in the early laps and then green the rest of the way. So might be get in the fortune telling business. Let's bring in Jared Rogers, our runner-up finisher tonight. Jared, you got a copy? It's Taylor and James in the booth.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, looks like you were able to keep tabs with Richard Springer there for a while, and then all of a sudden he began to pull away. Did your tires just kind of give out on you on the last 10 laps there?
Oh yeah, definitely. We lost about a second or two, second and a half coming out of the pits. Kind of screwed me on my pit stop, and after that, I just tried to push to keep up with him. And he's the master at saving tires, so there wasn't much we can do with that.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, although it's disappointing, I'm sure to finish second, another solid run for you on a 1.5-mile racetrack dating back to last season. Were you expecting a relatively clean race like this?
To be honest, I was expecting a couple more cautions based off how the first caution came out. I thought it was going to be a long one, but it's good to see us go green. I mean, I would love a caution that late like that. Can be caught back up, but that's part of racing, I guess.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking myself, I don't know how you felt about this, James, but I kind of was thinking about, oh boy, caution on lap 1 could be one of those nights, but got it sorted out and was a good show the rest of the way. We go to Texas Motor Speedway next week, another 1.5-mile track, but of course it's the first time that these trucks will be running on the new resurfaced Texas Motor Speedway. Have you got a chance to run yet, and what are your expectations next week?
I haven't got to touch the new one yet, so it's basically an open book at this point. I'm going to try and get some practice in this week, few official races, and see what I can come up with.
We certainly look forward to seeing what you can do next week. Got any shout-outs you want to give?
Well, as always, got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and DRL, JP, and everybody. And shout out to my teammate. Had a rough night tonight. Got caught up in some crap, but we'll hope to come back strong both next week. Get some top 5, possibly a win for both one of us. That's it.
Yeah, Austin was running strong for a while until he hit the wall, but I'm sure he'll bounce back, and I'm sure see both of you guys running strong next week. Certainly looking forward to it. Have a good night, and we'll see you then.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, and now that the dust has settled between these teammates on this front straightaway here, let's bring in the man of the hour once again, Richard Springer, making it 2 in a row at this racetrack, as well as 2 in a row this season. Congrats again, man.
Thank you. I know I got into Sims there, and my boys were just telling me it was my fault, so I apologize for that. I was hoping maybe he'd just see the situation, let me go, because he was really struggling there in the middle of the corner, and I was pretty good off the corner. So it saved the tires pretty well. So it was like lap 33 or something. So anyway, I feel bad about that. He's a good driver, and I didn't need to do that, and it was my fault.
Well, it's good to see you at least own up to it. I mean, definitely, I'm sure a difference of opinion between the two of you, and
I'm sure of that.
Yeah,
sure.
I can.
At the time, especially.
But I don't know about you, but that might have led to his decision to maybe go with the 2-stop strategy. But
I wonder too, because I didn't get even an X or not even 0.1 damage. So I don't know if he got hurt, if he hit the wall. I don't know. So maybe he had damage and had to pit for that reason.
Yeah, I saw some damage on his right front, so I think maybe that's what led him to make that decision. But
well, I tell you, I ran out of fuel coming to just after the white line. After I only had about a half a lap of fuel. So that 2-stop strategies guys do, that could have worked. I mean, it was a possibility of work.
Yeah, I mean, like me and James were talking about how it's kind of a gamble either way, and it's tough to. You're kind of torn between what you want to do, but you made it work once again, and we go to Texas next week. That new resurfaced facility. You gotten any laps on there yet? And what do you expect?
Yeah, I ran it a little bit. Turn 1 and 2 is as wide as you can imagine. It's just really something. I have no idea what's going to be the best line there over short term or long term. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Holloway can show me if Holloway's fast everywhere. So he had another great finish tonight. So good for him. David came back from way back, I guess, and had a good finish too. I don't know exactly where he finished, but I know it was pretty.
Well, I will say that when we had Daniel in here a couple of minutes ago, he sounded like he's going into that race with a lot of confidence. So see what you guys can do next week.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that those guys, Rogers ran real well. Boy, I couldn't shake him. He was about a second back, and then finally toward the end of that last run, they started fading a little bit. So, and the truck got pretty hairy. I was surprised how loose it got, how early. About 25 laps in, you had to be real careful.
Yeah, we were noticing that throughout the event as well, as a lot of guys kind of got separated and looked like they were racing the track more than the other drivers. But got any other shout outs you want to give before we let you go celebrate your third win of this season?
Yeah, shout out to you and JP. I guess it was Izinga around, or was it just you and JP in the?
It was just
two.
me and James tonight.
All right, well, good job by you guys. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all my teammates. They were helping here and there when they could. They were all on the track the whole time though, so there was nobody like a bird's eye view. So, but anyway, we got spread out pretty well, and it worked out good. So, appreciate all the drivers. 34 guys, I think, showed up. That was awesome having all those guys come in here and run.
Yeah, it was nice to see a big field, and other than the turn one, lap one crash, it's good to see you go green. Other than that, so
amen to that,
again.
brother. Amen to that.
Yeah, I mean, not just since that's your strength is the long run, but just in general for a good show for our fans. But congrats once again, and we're looking forward to see if maybe you can pull off the hat trick next week. Make it 3 in a row.
Well, we'll see. But, I feel bad for Sine. The guy was running good, and he just blinked out right in front of me, and he was gone. Terrible.
And he never was able to get back in. That was quite unfortunate. But
well, happened to me at Phoenix. I couldn't run there at all, so it does happen.
Yep, to everybody, every now and then. But congrats again, and enjoy this week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Alrighty. Have a good week then. Bye-bye now.
All right, I believe that is going to wrap things up for tonight. Let's go through the final finishing order.
Yeah, we have Richard Springer, who we just spoke to, our race winner, leading the most laps with 54 laps led. Jerry Rogers finishing second, Daniel Holloway third. Adam Free, 1 lap led, comes home fourth. Rounding out the top 5 goes to David Wright in the 42 truck. Jim Westfield leading 1 lap, comes home sixth. Dakota Wilkins 7th. Siderius Jackson 8th. Dustin Jones leading 1 lap, comes home 10th. And Ted Emmenizer rounds out the top 10. A great finish for him.
Absolutely, coming from 32nd up to the top 10. Greg Meyer, in his return to this series, comes home, excuse me, in the 11th position. Corey Sherman in 12th. Robbie Armstrong in 13th. Kind of disappointing run for him, I'm sure. He expected to do a little better, but of course, Texas is a good track for him next week, so he'll be looking to rebound then. Outside pole sitter Steven Sims led for a while until that incident with Springer. And he ends up in the 14th position, the last truck on the lead lap. Cody Gatsky, first truck a lap down in 15th. Ronnie Outlaw in 16th. Brent Kincott, Doug Lockroad, Cody Barber, and Jared Gordon, the rest of the top 20, all lap down.
Unfortunately, my ATVO has frozen up on me, so if you could go over the rest of the
Yep, I got you. Randy Rockwell, in his DRL truck debut, comes home in 21st. Austin Collins, after getting into the wall, limped his way to a 22nd place finish. David Lindahl, our championship runner-up, coming into this race, brings it home in 23rd position. Marvin Wingfield, after missing pit road under green, ends up 24th. Dustin Eichert, 25th. Trevor Shaw in 26th. William Wingfield, 27th. Points leader Patrick Cowgill, a rough night for him from the very beginning as he got caught up in that lap one crash. Limps home in 28th. Josh Johnson had a rough end to his race after hitting the inside wall trying to get to pit road. Credited with a 29th place finish, and Anna Purcell in 30th. Another tough break for the young man on the DRL DBR team. Definitely in need of his luck to turn around. He's shown a lot of speed, but just hasn't gotten the finishes. And rounding out the rest of the field, Rod Fostall, Adam Breeden, Terrence Sine, and Hayden Askey. Sine, our pole sitter, definitely a big disappointment having that internet issue.
Absolutely, but lucky for him, it's still early in the season. Terrence and I will have plenty of time to make up those points that he could have had tonight. And I finally got ATVR working a little bit, so while I got the graphic up, the next race on DRL TV will be the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series Texas 200. That is Monday, March 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. 133 laps on the brand new Texas Motor Speedway. A lot of unknowns for these drivers going in on this new pavement, so be sure to tune in and see what happens.
And not just for these truckers, but next week for us, James, is our next broadcast will be Monday at Texas Motor Speedway. Coverage starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for the Grand National Series. Of course, last night was quite a finish with Eric Wolf winning once again.
It was indeed, and the Truck Series will be racing for 100 laps next Tuesday, and if things continue, it might be a pretty green flag race as well.
At least that's what we're hoping for.
Thank you to everybody that makes Dynasty Racing League possible. James Randolph with the owner of Financial and Marketing. Thank you to the graphics department, Jordan Gonzalez, Martin Wenzel for all the graphics that you see here. Thank you to all the broadcasters, David Warburton Jr., James Pandoff. Thank you to you, Taylor, for joining us in the booth tonight. Much appreciated. Thank you to all the other special driver broadcasters that we've had throughout the year, Ben Izenga, Rod Fosnar, Mike Springer, to name a few. Thank you to all the race controllers, James Pandoff, Dakota Wilkins, Jeremy Hebel. Thank you, Taylor, for doing both race control and broadcast tonight. Luckily, the last 2 weeks you haven't had to do a whole lot.
I'm loving these guys. How they're making their job easy for them.
Well, guys, that'll do it here for us at DRL TV. I apologize for the ATVO issues at the end of this one, but I'm glad I was able to get through the whole race without any issues. We'll see you guys next week for some high-speed racing at Texas. Have a great night.